Hi, I'm Hazel, and this is your guide to the Deathscreech pet battle on Argus. I'm going to start with a quick strategy to just beat him and get your world quest done. Then, I'll show you strategies for each and every pet family for progress on the Family Fighter achievement. Deathscreech lives here in Crocoon. His moveset includes Liftoff, but not once have I seen him use it, so he's really a one-claw kind of boss. First up, the fastest strategy for just doing the world quest, which also works as the magic strategy. I've got an Empowered Mana Fiend with Surge of Power and Arcane Storm, an Untethered Wyrmling with Mana Surge, and an Eldritch Mana Fiend with Surge of Power. Those last two could be swapped for any magic pet with the same moves. Starting with our Empowered Fiend, we'll use Arcane Storm, then a Surge of Power. Deathscreech is very RNG as to when he uses Apocalypse, so you might be able to squeak an Arcane Blast in before the Surge, but you might not, and you don't really need to. Next, bring out your Mana Surge pet and go for a Mana Surge. The magic type comes in really handy here to stop him from two-shotting our dudes. If the Mana Surge doesn't quite do it, then just slap him with a Surge of Power from your final pet. Up next, we'll do Aquatic. I've got a Moonshell Crab with Arcane Slash and Moon Tears, an Emerald Turtle with Emerald Bite and Healing Wave, and a Frostshell Pincher with Rip and Blood in the Water. Starting with our Moonshell Crab, throw down a Moon Tears, then spam Arcane Slash for as long as you can. Infected Claw will do a variable amount of damage to you, so if he ever just smashes you down with really high rolls and you die early, you might need to try again. After your crab dies, bring out the turtle and use Emerald Bite about 3 times. Go for a Healing Wave before Moonlight falls, then go back to Emerald Biting. He's almost done by the time our turtle dies, so use Rip and then Blood in the Water to finish the fight. Next is Critters. I've got 3 snails with Ooze Touch and Acidic Goo. Go for health and attack heavy breeds since speed will do you no good here. Start with Acidic Goo and then Ooze Touch into it 2 to 3 times. Repeat that on every snail that you have and you should kill him before he kills you. That brings us to Elementals. I've got a Crimson Geode with Feedback and Elementium Bolt, then Tainted and Fetid Waveling set up with Corrosion and Ooze Touch. Start with Elementium Bolt and then press Feedback as many times as you are able to. Ideally, that gets him 2 or below half health. Bring out a Waveling, use Corrosion, and then Ooze Touch into it. Keep Ooze Touching and that ought to do it. Next, it's time for Humanoids. I've got an Ashleaf Spriteling with Poison Branch, Wild Magic, and Entangling Roots. Second slot is a Squirky with Stampede and Bubble, and last is Winter's Little Helper or any winter pet with Gift of Winter's Veil. Starting with my Spriteling, I'm going to use my moves 3, 2, 1, Roots, then Wild Magic, then Poison Branch if possible. Once the Spriteling goes down, bring up Squirky, use Bubble, and then Stampede. Bubble keeps him safe for a minute, but after it falls, he's more or less toast. Once poor Squirky returns to the sea, bring up your Winter's Whatever and chuck a Gift of Winter's Veil at his face. That'll teach him. Up next is Mechanical. I'm using my trusty Pocket Cannon with Arcane Shot and Explode, and a Race Mini Zep with Missile, Decoy, and Darkmoon Curse. Other useful pets would be the Sunreaver Micro Sentry, Rascalbot, or Lil Bling with their magic damage, or the other Zeppelin with Decoy and Explode. Starting with the cannon, press Arcane Shot twice to get a shot off and then go in for your Explode. On the Zeppelin, we'll throw down a Decoy, then Darkmoon Curse and spam him with missiles. If it comes to a third pet, hit him with a little magic damage. An Ion Cannon pet would also do. Next is Beast Blitz. I'm using my Son of Scum with Stampede, a Thaumaturgical Piglet with Ooze Touch and Arcane Dash, and a Moon with Howl and Moonfang. Starting with Scum, use Stampede. If you manage to live through that, go ahead and use Stampede again. Once Son of Scum dies, bring out the Piglet and use Arcane Dash into that Shattered debuff. Follow that up with an Ooze Touch or 2 until your Piglet goes down. Finally, Moon can finish things off with a Howl Moonfang combo. Up next, we'll do Dragonkin. I'm using a Nexus and Stormborn Whelp with Arcane Storm and Mana Surge, then a Creminius with Surge of Power. Starting with the Nexus Whelp, I'm using Arcane Storm, then Mana Surge. On the Stormborn Whelp, we'll use Mana Surge, and when that Whelp succumbs to darkness, just bring in Creminius and finish it with a Surge of Power. Next, we've got Flying. I'm using an Icky with Black Claw and Flock, then a Sentinel's Companion with Soulrush and Dark Talon. Third, bring anything with Predatory Strike just in case. Start with Icky and use Black Claw, then Flock. When Icky dies, bring in the Sentinel's Companion and use Soulrush, then Dark Talon. I get lucky with a stun here, but even without it, you can Dark Talon a few times and finish the fight with a predatory strike. Last is Undead. I'm using my Unborn Valkyr with Shadow Shock, Curse of Doom, an Unholy Ascension, an Infected Squirrel with Stampede, and a Fragment of Anger with Soulrush and Spirit Firebolt. The squirrel could be swapped for another Undead Stampede pet, and the fragments are interchangeable. Starting with the Valkyr, use Curse of Doom, then Shadow Shock until you die, and use Unholy Ascension on your Undead immunity round. Bring forth your zombie squirrel and use Stampede. After his demise, use Soulrush on a fragment to finish the fight. So that's Family Fighter Deathscreech. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for the rest of the Family Fighter guides and other super cool WoW videos. Let me know what you think, share your own strategies in the comments if you like, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!